Hello, I'm Sigma.
Wow, I really need to stop reinventing my model each time I make a new update.
Yeah, it happened again, but this time it's for good reasons. Blender updated fast, first with 4.5, then with 5.0, and they added so many new tools I had to rework a lot of stuff for this one. And wow, for once the Blender version and file version are the same. Hooray! The main gist of the update is better everything once again, furry options galore, entire new meshes, some removed stuff, but mostly more to everything you already loved. And so I am proud to say welcome to the better alternative update. Instead of taking these one by one, I decided I will just list them all on screen now. There were specific bugs here and there, and some things were fixed just with Blender updating. Only thing of note is that the drivers regarding subdivisions all kept breaking with every new Blender version for some reason, so I removed them from the menu. This is also somewhat of a plus since you now can change the subdivision individually without worrying about overworking your CPU. The biggest thing you may notice when updating is that the menu is very different. Some buttons were changed here and there, but overall the biggest change is to the options themselves. Gone are the 0 to 1 integer options, in are the much cleaner boolean checkboxes. Additionally, all the parts of the model that were loose in a generic scene collection in the past, now it's all clean and tidy in separate collections, as well as the whole model being held in one big collection, so the process of appending and accessing the file from other Blender files is even easier. The armature received a visual update. The clothing option was remade, now allowing for smoother cuts and updated materials. The paw pad was also remade to be dynamic, which came in handy a lot when it comes to the new options you'll see later. I was also able to update some other materials as well, connecting many of the options around the model for consistency, and removed some textures thanks to more geometry nodes. Almost everything in the model is procedural at this point. Wow! A few things were overall removed from this version. The webbing option is not available anymore, as I could not find a way to implement it procedurally, and doing it manually would clutter the model, considering that the option was not used in general. Due to the changes and additions, like the new artificial and extra shapes options, support towards the combination of these options and clothing has been greatly reduced. Among the extra shapes used, all pose library options were removed and replaced where possible. This time I got more stuff to cover. Added jiggle physics bones. My suggestion is to use an add-on such as wiggle bone, bone dynamics, or jiggle physics to resolve and or bake the motion to set bones. Now you can make the clothing fuzzier. Since it's a full geonode setup, you will be able to change it via modifiers using Blender's default geonode groups. The robot options got a huge update. Now they're called artificial. The robot options was completely remade from scratch, now showcasing advanced mechanical detail and moving pistons. And a new options was added, the doll options, for even more personalization. Speaking of further customization, now you have access to amputee options. You can disarticulate the ankles, hips, as well as below and above the knee. Fur options has now been recalled to integument, as it now also features a new scales material. The hair material for the fur has also been updated with Blender's 5.0 new principled hair BSDF, and you can now remove the hair from the underside of the model. And speaking of furries, as I mentioned prior, the pose library was removed. It worked extremely clunky and disincentivized people to using the extra options provided. Well, no more. Introducing Extra shapes. All pose library options were remade here, given custom bones and better shapes. Digitigrade is back and working a lot better with all options. A new slider for avian toes was added for the furry paw options, as well as the new acinodactyl option, which, however, only works with the digitigrade option turned on. If enough buzz is made, I may consider also adding a zygodactyl option. Another thing that only really works with digitigrade on is the new hoof options for all you bronies out there. Last but not least, as a replacement for some of the lost pose library options, you can now create a custom foot. Build it yourself with the new custom option. You can also forgo the empty custom option to build on top of other options. My, and so another update has been made. Pretty proud of how procedural and dynamic it's all becoming. Ideally, I would make it even more so, but between some tools still not existing in Geonodes, as well as me not being good enough yet, this is as far as I'll go for now. Important note, the prior updates were released when I still had a Payhip shop. With my move to Ko-Fi and Patreon, everyone that didn't buy from these new sites effectively is unable to straight up freely update. I was planning on creating some options for you to do so, but unfortunately, Ko-Fi didn't implement the request I asked of them necessary for such a thing to happen. But don't fret, both you as well as everyone else that wants to get my model will be able to do so at an incredible price for the next month, as a thank you for everything and for the holidays. If you have some spare cash, consider donating to Blender and supporting the community and program we all know and love. If you happen to have even more spare cash, consider giving it all to me. Thank you all for watching. Bye bye!